I'm gonna start working on the ventral fins. That's these guys right here, and as you can see, I already have the first one installed. What comes in your kit is sort of the ventral fin, obviously, and they usually have glued together an M3 sort of stub out of both of these holes right here. And the idea is that you will use these holes right here. I'm going to poke an M3 through so you can see one there and the other one a little bit in front of it. That's the second one right there. We're going to use those and put the screw through here, and then use a lock nut to secure that. But I don't like that, so I'm going to change that because I want to be able to pull that ventral fin in and out as I need. So let's show you here what I have. So here's what I came up with, and what you can see there is these pointed carbon arms and a piece of wood, and basically inside that piece of wood are some rubber grommets, and what that allows is for a mechanism that you can insert the ventral fin through, and those pointy carbon arms will go through the rubber arms, but then the rubber grommets, but then get held in place. Let me show you exactly what I mean. This 180 piece rubber seal assortment ring, and in there I have a selection of grommets. So these are the ones down here that I use. This carbon rod that I have showed up, and you can see that that doesn't quite fit through the grommet. So, but how I do is I just stick that on the end, apply some heat with like a heat gun that allows the rubber to be flexible, and then I can push it through, and what I end up with is that. So you can see the hole now has been expanded. So let's show that better, and is now wide enough to fit through the carbon rod, but it's still snug, so I can't really just push it around. That rubber will hold that carbon spar in place. So basically that is gonna get glued in there, and then I'm gonna surround this with a block of wood and epoxy around that. So the block of wood will actually keep the grommets from expanding too much, and that's what we're gonna put in there. And then we will open up these holes that are on the ventral fins and just glue those in here, sort of like that and like that, and then we'll have the two fins that go into the bottom of the jet. Now when I do this is actually tricky because I didn't drill both holes at once. So what I did is I'll put back one of the M3s because I need to get the angle right. So you can see that this surface here is tapered, it's not quite flat, and you need to get the angle for however the fin's gonna attach correct, so that when it sits in the jet it sits correctly. So to do that, what I basically have is I install in one of the holes, say like the back one here, because this is what came from the factory. So when I install that, get it in there, okay, and now I can see the angle that I need. So I'm going to drill out this hole right here on the front side, line it up with my eye so that basically I'm not too far out, too far in, but I just line those up, glue that in place, and now I can remove this guy and glue the second rod, carbon fiber rod in place, and that should line up exactly. So we'll do that and we'll come back and show you the result. On the bottom of the plane here, I'm just gonna take my drill and we're gonna work these holes open just like that. Not much needed, just a little bit to get my carbon rods to go through, and on the inside we're gonna glue our grommets, and we should have a good result just like this, where we can then pull the ventral fin out, but the grommets provide just enough friction to keep it in place in flight. So I inserted my ventral fin. You can see I had a bit of a boo-boo where I drilled through the outside, but I'm putting epoxy right now And once that cures, I'm just gonna sand and paint over that, so not a problem. But anyways, in here, that's what that looks like. You can see that carbon coming right through, and I've put the grommets over as I'm getting ready to glue the grommets in place. And the reason I waited at this point is because I wanted to make sure that everything lines up exactly as it's supposed to be. So now we're gonna go glue that with CA. I'm gonna be very careful because I don't want to glue the grommets to the carbon rod. I just want to glue the grommets to the wood that is back here. So we're gonna glue that, and then we'll be able to put the wooden blocks on top of it and put epoxy between the wooden block and the grommets to keep everything in place, just like we did on the side, which is what you can see right there. So that's the end result that I'm going for, and then we'll obviously shorten the carbon rod because we're gonna have a pipe coming through here. We don't want that to contact. You can see we've pulled out the ventral fin, and you can see the rubber grommet. And so if I were to move this, it's pretty flexible right now, as you can see. So that's why I would put a wooden block around it and epoxy everything to keep that in check. So we'll do that for this, and then obviously we got to do the front hull as well. So there we go. There are the 4 spots with rubber grommets in them. See if we can zoom in. Yeah, you can see the rubber grommets there. They are sticking out more on the right side than the left, but the idea is the same. And on the bottom, we have our fins. And so far, they look to be perfectly evenly spaced, so I'm really happy about that. And they'll be removable when I need them to be. So here's the jet sitting level, and you can see that looks pretty darn good. And then they're pretty nice and tight, both sides, so I'm happy with that result. I just gotta paint this boo-boo here a little bit, but maybe I'll leave it just like that. But yeah, that's where we are at.